Today, we're diving into a story that's all about a massive paradox, a story of incredible wealth right next to devastating loss. We're talking about Nigeria's complicated relationship with its oil and the giant global companies that pull it out of the ground.
I want to start with just a number, a huge one, 40 million. Just let that number sit in your mind for a second. What do you think that could even be?
Well, that's 40 million liters of crude oil spilled into the incredibly fragile ecosystem of the Niger Delta. And here's the real kicker. This isn't some one-off catastrophe. This happens every single year. It's just the constant toxic reality for millions of people.
So here's our game plan for unpacking this. First, we're going to dig into that staggering environmental cost. Then we'll look at the flip side, the supposed advantages of having these massive transnational corporations, or TNCs, there. And finally, we'll get into the serious disadvantages that come along with them. Okay, let's jump right in. Section 1, the environmental cost. And really, it's a devastatingly high price for both the land and the people who live there. What's wild is how the damage just ripples out and affects everything. You got oil from leaky pipes soaking into farmland, which means you can't grow anything. That same oil gets into the water and kills off the fish, a huge source of food and income. And then there's the air. The practice of burning off extra gas, it pumps greenhouse gases into the atmosphere and causes real, direct respiratory problems for the people breathing it in. It's a full-blown assault on their land, their water, and their air. And of course, that environmental disaster has a massive human toll. I mean, what do you do when you can't farm your land or fish in your river anymore? Your entire way of life is just gone. This kind of desperation is a huge reason why many are pushed into militancy, which just creates more instability. And on top of it all, the food and water that people need to survive is literally being poisoned. This isn't just an environmental issue, you know? It's a deep human crisis. And if you want one stat that just punches you right in the gut, here it is. Life expectancy in the Niger Delta is a full 10 years lower than the national average in Nigeria. 10 years. Think about that. It's a number that coldly quantifies the deadly price people are paying. So you're probably thinking, wait a minute, aren't there laws to stop this? And the answer is, yeah, of course there are. Nigeria has environmental laws. But here's the catch. Having a law on paper is one thing. Actually implementing it, enforcing it, and monitoring it is a whole other beast. And that's where the system breaks down. So this all sounds pretty awful, right? It begs the question, if the cost is so unbelievably high, why are these massive global companies even there? To get that, we have to flip the coin and look at this from a totally different angle. And that brings us to section 2, the advantages. Because there is another side to the story. There's a powerful economic argument that's all about investment, jobs, and technology. You know, the case for these corporations is pretty compelling, you have to admit. They bring in billions of dollars in foreign investment for things the government might not be able to afford. They create thousands of jobs, and often these are skilled jobs that come with valuable training. Plus, they usually pay more than local companies. And on top of that, they bring in new tech and open doors to global markets. For a developing country, that's the dream, right? It's the promise of a fast track to economic growth. But is that promise actually being fulfilled? That question takes us to our final section, the disadvantages. Is this really a story of development, or is it something closer to exploitation? This right here gets to the absolute heart of the dilemma. You have the promise versus the reality. The promise is jobs with higher wages. The reality? Well, those wages are way, way lower than what the company would pay someone in their home country. The promise is financial investment. The reality? A huge chunk of the profits made from Nigeria's own oil leaves the country to line the pockets of foreign shareholders. It's like two different stories are being told at the exact same time. And the list of disadvantages keeps going. We've already talked about the environmental mess that often just gets left behind, but also most of the raw crude oil is just exported as is. This means Nigeria misses out on the much bigger profits that come from refining it into gasoline and other products. And let's be real, there's a huge power imbalance. These companies are powerful enough to influence governments, but they can also just pack up and leave whenever they want. So, when you boil it all down, you're left with this fundamental conflict. Is it investment or exploitation? Is it development or damage? For Nigeria, the complicated, painful answer seems to be, well, it's both. And that leaves us with one last really challenging question. When you add it all up, the polluted land, the ruined livelihoods, the lost years of life, the profits that flow overseas, you have to ask, how can a nation ever truly come out ahead when the price of profit is this high?